Hello and welcome to Nu Videocast. I'm Leila Suwwan and I lead communications here at Nu. Today we welcome Armando Herrera. He's our CEO of the Mexico operations, and he's here today to talk about growth in Mexico and what to expect with the banking license coming up. Welcome, Armando.
Leila, I'm so excited to be here at such an exciting time, not only for Nu globally, but particularly in Mexico.
We're really happy to have you here in our São Paulo offices this week.
It's been amazing. It's been a lot of hard work, but that's part of what we always have to do in order to bring financial services and inclusion to a broader base, not only in Mexico, but across the world.
Well, let's start there. There's a lot of buzz in the market about our plans, to expand to more countries. The market is also keeping a close eye on growth in Mexico. How do you see the balance between these two efforts in the company?
I think the balance comes naturally. On one regard, we have a global brand that resonates with not only the local geography, but it's resonating across the globe. That brings the attention or draws the attention of many Mexicans that feel that the existing financial system has not included them. And as we have been making progress in Mexico, they are now part of it, and that's part of where the opportunity lies in continuing to deepen our relationship with not only existing customers, with prospects.
So Armando, middle of last year, I was here recording Videocast with Guilherme Lago, who's our Chief Financial Officer and Chairman of the Board in Mexico, and we already had stellar numbers. Since then, we added 2 million new customers. Can you tell us a little bit about what the growth looks like? What do you see in the pipeline?
It's been an amazing pace of adding about 1 million customers per quarter, hence the 2 million that you allude to. We've reached position number 5 in terms of the financial system in Mexico. And within credit card, we're the third issuer in the country.
In just 7 years in the country.
Just 7 years in the country. When we look back then, we were less than 1 million customers, and now we're 13 million customers. So it not only speaks about the strength of our business model and our ability to connect with customers and prospects, but also there's a very strong financial inclusion story behind that, right? Within those 13 million customers, there's a lot of people that for the first time have a digital product. Prior to the experience, about 22% of our customers were just transacting cash.
It's a very cash-based economy, right?
It's a very cash-based economy, but we're making that transition for a lot of people in Mexico. When we look at how many of them are transacting into the account, the cash-in network that we've been able to cast for over 30,000 points, we see that about 75% of the transactions are cash in. And these customers, whenever they can, are using now the card, whether it's the debit or the credit, in order to transact digitally. So this is really the tip of the arrow where we're making progress in digitizing the country. Cash is our number one competitor, but we're making strides in winning that battle.
That's amazing. And I think I have a figure here that speaks to the fact that 6 million people did not have access to credit before they got our credit card, La Moradita. Can you tell us more about this financial inclusion?
That's correct. And we think of credit not only in terms of financial inclusion, but financial resilience, because that's what really allows families to navigate unexpected things or plan for longer term. Credit is what triggers and enables that. 50% of our customers, 1 in every 2, have a credit card for the first time. Through products like Credit Builder, we're also helping a lot of customers to build their own credit history and be seen in the financial system. Several of them tell us that their lives have changed significantly since becoming a new user, precisely because of this, of the opportunities that open once you're part of the financial system.
So Armando, it's been 7 years. We're deeply committed to Mexico. We're seeing the growth. We're seeing the financial inclusion. We're seeing the impact in people's lives. We think it's a great opportunity, and we think we need to keep investing. Can you tell us a little bit more about how much we've put in and what to expect?
We're very committed to Mexico, not only because of the opportunity, but the numbers are a testament to that. By 2030, we will have invested $4.2 billion, out of which, roughly speaking, 2.4 are strategic investments in CapEx and OpEx. Again, this is the fuel that will allow us to continue driving financial inclusion in Mexico and customer love.
Mm-hmm. You were talking about digitizing, helping people get digital with their financials. In Brazil, when I interviewed Livia here in the Videocast, we were talking about the growth opportunity being in deepening the relationship, increasing engagement, because we already have the majority of the adult population in our customer base. The story in Mexico is a little bit different, right? We want that deep engagement, but we also have a lot of room to grow in number of customers, and I'm sure even growing the actual addressable market, right?
We remain focused first on expanding our customer base and then also in deepening the product usage, the product adoption, in order to continue doing financial inclusion. That's the basis of our business model, and with which we later can monetize or increase the financials on a unit economics basis. But in the current focus, expanding with the tremendous opportunity that we have is still the focus of the market.
Can you tell us more about the avenues for this expansion?
Well, on one hand, with the products that we have, deposit and credit, the cajitas have been received very well in the Mexican society. They have allowed customers to see what it means to save for the first time. It's really hard, for instance, to explain compounding interest to someone, either through infographics or videos, but it's really tangible when you start saving and you see that your money grows. I remember one of the first experiences with one customer that she told me that after 6 months of putting money in the cajita, she was able to bring her daughter for the first time to the beach. So these are the stories that connect what we're doing with the reality. And these are the ones that are creating word of mouth so that we can continue expanding in Mexico.
And yield is pretty new to a customer like that, right? I don't think that was the benchmark before in Mexico.
We completely changed the way Mexicans see depositing into an account. It used to be simply, I have it there for being able to transact, but not necessarily to save. And there was always a trade-off between putting it in a long-term deposit, but with the concern that if you need it, then it's locked in somewhere. And I think that we brought the best of both worlds, and that's part of the success story. And what lays behind that, it's our ability to listen to what are the customer concerns and designing products in a way that they adapt to their needs specifically. And that's what drives the flywheel.
That's great. And I know that you dedicate a good amount of time hearing customers, like seeking them out and understanding their needs and their pains. Can you tell us a little about any experience you've had recently doing that?
Yes, I've been 4 months into this job, and that has been paramount to me. And I've seen that the excitement of the new employees in Mexico also connecting with customers, because that's what keeps us honest, and that's what focuses our efforts in using technology to bridge the gap between their needs and our possibilities. 1 week after I joined, we started inviting customers to our offices, but we also spend time at the places where our customers spend. We like to see it both ways. We like to have a close connection to understand what are their needs, what are their worries in their day-to-day, and be able to design products and services that cater them. I remember asking at a round table with customers, what was the low point of your week this week? And it was interesting for them to say, topping up my phone line is one of the low points of my week, because that's the moment when I really need to use my cell phone, probably to call my mom or probably to call a relative, and I realized that I no longer have it. But it was very interesting to see that other customers replied saying, oh, but there is the functionality with Nu where you can top it up directly, and so you save time. And you see how they engage in these conversations, loving our products. This was also a proud moment for the team to realize that the effort and the hours that they put in developing services for our customers, they're actually being used in a way that touches their day-to-day lives in a significant way. So we spend a lot of time with customers, not only listening to them, but actually observing them and observing what's their day-to-day, based on that designing products and services. And we have a full roadmap of things that we will be able to launch once we have the banking license. Well, in the meantime, we continue improving the existing products that we have.
Great. You gave me the best segue, because I do want to ask you about the banking license. We got the approval in April of last year, and that's not the finish line yet. So can you update us about what's happening right now and what's to expect in the next coming months?
We're in the finish line. We're preparing for the audits. The license and operating as a bank should materialize during this year. this is not just an accolade. This is a stepping stone with which we will continue expanding in other segments and with other products. I want to make sure that our technology can scale up exponentially once we get it. So we've been spending a lot of time in talking to the regulator about our future plans and making sure that we have everything in place to go through the audit, but also putting our sight into the future to make sure that once we pass that milestone, a very significant milestone, we're ready to press on the gas pedal and continue expanding in the market.
For sure. And I know we have a great team working on this tirelessly, and they're really great. They're top-notch talent.
Absolutely. And when you think about it, we've been able to leverage the experience of Nu globally as a brand and in operating in different geographies. And that not only is important in this particular process, but in general in product development, that has allowed us to always use the latest version of our products and services, then adapt them to the local reality. And that compounds in a way in which we are able to leapfrog and not start from scratch. When you think about cajitas, for instance, the adoption and the launch of cajitas in Mexico was much faster than in Brazil. As we go into cajitas in Colombia, that was one where it actually was faster. And that's the beauty of our business model, right? That a lot of these compounds as we go into the next geography allows us to accelerate and be able to reap the benefits of our business model faster.
That's great. Bringing it back to, the potential in Mexico. Right now in the company, we are seeing Nu Mexico probably going to be the first bank in the Nu Holdings group, right? We did have approval in the United States from the OCC to establish a national bank in the United States. We've also announced our intention to obtain a banking license in Brazil, but Mexico looks like first in line, right? Compared to all these movements and looking at Mexico's size, size comparing to Brazil in terms of GDP and GDP per capita, we see potential for that operation to actually be bigger than Brazil. Can you comment?
Yeah, there are different markets in many regards, but when we look at it, say, on a vintage perspective, we see that we've been making significant progress to the same moment Brazil had, 5 years into the operation or 6 years into the operation. One of them, for instance, if you look at revenue per customer, that in Brazil was around 13.5, and we're already at 12.5. But when you look at Brazil at the moment, at the stage that Mexico is, it was lower. Also, when we look at this, for instance, in terms of penetrating the addressable market, in Brazil, we had at this stage about 7% of the adult population penetrated. In Mexico, we have 30 million customers over a population of 130 million. That's about 10%. So these are the things where we see in a tangible way that piggybacking, so to speak, on the learnings that the overall geographies have done and then focusing them in the market, it's what allows us to move faster in deploying our products and services and actually reaping the benefits from that.
You spoke earlier about our model, which is a global model, which helps the local operations develop quicker and adapt to the local situation in the markets. But can you tell us about the opposite end? What are the products that we are developing that are truly Mexican, customized for the Mexican population? It's
a very interesting question and a very interesting balance, because the platform allows us, like you said, to deploy products faster. But we also have local teams that make sure that we adapt them in a way that they resonate with the customers. And then that we also develop local products or ways in which to engage with customers. Take, for instance, installments. Installments in Mexico are something that very at the heart of the need of our customers. So we've developed several ways in which our customers can finance their purchases or their large ticket purchases through installments. Another way to see it is cash in and cash out. Like I said, Mexico is a very cash-driven economy. In order to digitize, we have to provide the on-ramp and off-ramp such that there's this translation between the physical cash world into the digital. Like I said, I'm very happy to see that we expanded our network of cash in and cash out points by about 30,000 points last year through our corresponsales network, and that 75% of those transactions are cash in. So we're really making a change in digitizing the economy.
That's great. So local solutions for the local problems, and we keep innovating.
With a global brand, with a global support, and across the world, making sure that customers fanatically love us.
Armando, thank you so much for this conversation, and I want to thank our listeners for staying till the end.
Thank you.